Hi, Kevin Eikenberry here, talking to you about what you've been hearing about and reading about, the turnover tsunami. The great resignation is on, right? You're hearing that people are leaving their jobs in record numbers. They're leaving for greener pastures. They're not happy with where they were. They got through a pandemic, and now it's time for them to move on. And lots of people are doing it. The data says it's true. The question that we have individually is how can we overcome or avoid entirely the turnover tsunami? As leaders, what can we do to avoid this or keep it from happening to us? The question is, will it happen to you? I don't know if it will or not. Maybe it will. But what I also know is there are things that we can understand and do as leaders that can help us avoid some of that. Let it happen to our competitors and not to us. Listen, the reality is it is happening and it's going to happen to some. It just doesn't have to happen to us. And so I would start by saying that we should take it as a warning. Yeah, this is our chance to say people have gotten restless. People are starting to raise their heads up and look around. And so the question is, how can we make sure that our folks stay? Well, why is it that people stay? What is it that people are looking for in their work? Well, there's some new things they're looking for now, like perhaps more job flexibility and where they're going to physically work and some of those things. But beyond those new things, the underlying facts about what people want from a job haven't changed. They want purpose and meaning in their work. They want the chance to make a difference. They want to work in a place where they like the people and love the culture and feel that they fit in. Yes, sometimes people need to change jobs because they're just not in the right role. But most often, people are looking for these other factors. Oh, they're looking for one other factor. They're looking at us as the leader, right? Because the number one reason that people voluntarily leave a job is they fire their boss. Look at that earlier list, or think back to the list I just shared with you a second ago, and realize that most of those things we as a leader can have an impact on. We can impact the culture. We can impact at some level the flexibility that people have. We can impact the meaning and purpose people find in their work by the things that we do. And we're going to talk about a couple of those now. But there's something else that is directly 100% about us in relationship to our folks. And that is that universally people say, I want a boss that I know, like, and trust. So let me just stop there for a second. Think about those three words in relationship to the folks that work with you. How are you doing on these three factors? Do they know you? Do they like you? Do they trust you? And after working at a distance from them for over a year now, is that as true now as it once was? You see, if your relationship and trust with folks has deteriorated over the course of the pandemic and the lockdowns and the working at a distance, then this is something we need to work on, something we need to think about, something we need to invest in. If your relationships aren't where they once were, now's the time to change them. I've got 3 Ds for you to help you avoid the turnover tsunami. And I've just started to talk about the first one. And that first one is to decide to invest in your relationships with your folks. If you've gone through this pandemic and say, Kevin, I'm busier than ever. Look at my calendar, see all the Zoom or Microsoft Team meetings, and I got more email than ever. Like, I don't have time for that, Kevin. I don't have time to invest in my folks. They already know me. Well, guess what? You may not feel like you have time to invest in your relationships with them, but you'll have time to replace them if you lose them. Wouldn't it be better to keep your great and high performers? Wouldn't it be better to stay with folks that already know your business and your processes? Wouldn't it be better to retain your rock stars than to be out working to find new folks to join your team? You'll make the time to replace them. So why not invest the time to keep them? Invest in your folks through your relationships and trust with them. One of the ways we build trust with people is to delegate to them. Are you delegating valuable work to people? If we delegate the right things, we take them off our list, we give them to someone else and provide greater meaning and purpose for them because they feel like they're doing new and important work. And in fact, they are. You can worry about being so busy, or you can think about how you can invest in others by delegating to them, and everybody will win. Are you delegating as effectively as you could? Are you delegating as willingly as you could? Are you delegating the right stuff? One of the reasons we delegate is to develop others. So the third D, along with deciding to invest in relationships and delegating to people, the third D is developing them. Investing your time in coaching them, investing your money in providing them with training and other learning resources, delegating those projects, giving them the chance to build their skills. One of the reasons people stay is they feel like they're growing, that they're continuing to learn, that they're becoming more valuable for themselves, their confidence is growing, and they are learning. Now, I've given you 3 Ds to help you overcome the turnover tsunami, to avoid it completely, to keep it from washing up on your shores. And I want to give you one resource to help you with all of that. And that's remarkablemasterclass.com. At remarkablemasterclass.com, you will find masterclasses that you might use for those team members to help them in their development. You'll also find a masterclass to help you be a more effective delegator, and a masterclass to help you invest in and build better working relationships. All of it's there for you at remarkablemasterclass.com. The turnover tsunami is real, but it doesn't have to wash up on your shores. If you take the 3D approach to your leadership and to spending your time, you will be investing in your team members and avoiding that tsunami.